Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chicken Wrap, and this is my 2016 General Purpose AP Shaco Guide. You might be asking yourself, why AP? Well, silly goose, it's because of Proto Belt. But before we get into all of that fun stuff, we should tackle runes, masteries, summoner spells, and skill order. For runes, the classic AP setup is your friend. Penetration marks, AP quints, and scaling armor and magic resistance seals and glyphs. You can definitely opt to get flat resistances if you so choose, however. For masteries, this is generally what you're going to want to run. For lane Shaco, and for Jungle Shaco. For summoner spells, Shaco has a plethora of options. Ignite, Exhaust, Teleport, Smite, and Flash all work well on Shaco. Except, because he has his Deceive, he can function well without Flash. This means that he can pick up a second non-Flash summoner spell. For top lane, I suggest Teleport and Ignite. For mid lane, I suggest Exhaust and Ignite. And when jungling, I suggest Smite and literally any other summoner spell your team needs. In regards to skill order, you're going to want to start with your W. If you're laning, you're going to want to take E first, and then Q at level 3 or 4 depending on if their jungler likes ganking or not. If they're a farm heavy jungler, then you're safe to take E at level 3, and Q at level 4. Then you can start harassing earlier than normal. If you're jungling, you want to pick up Q or E depending on if you're going to be invading or not. Q if you are, or E if you're going to just farm. Either way, you'll be taking Q at level 3. Then you can focus on maxing E and then W, putting points into your ultimate when you can. As for a build path, I start Doran's Ring, picking up Lost Chapter first so I can sustain myself in the lane, then I go for Boots, Revolver, Proto Belt, and then Sorcerer's Shoes, followed up by Morellonomicon, Luden's Echo, Abyssal Scepter, and then Death Cap. If I'm jungling, I start out very normally, grabbing Runic Echoes and Tier 1 boots into Revolver, Proto Belt, and then Sword Shoes, just like before. But from there, I typically grab Abyssal Scepter, Death Cap, and then Nomicon or Zhonya's Hourglass. If you don't feel like certain items are working for you, or you have a differing playstyle to my own, you can always pick up Zhonya's Hourglass while laning, Void Staff, Rod of Ages, or Lich Bane. I actually highly recommend Lich Bane as an item to grab if you want to replace any item in this build, such as Nomicon or Abyssal Scepter if they don't have a whole lot of magic resistance, as Lich Bane is another item that tremendously boosts your burst damage, and I do buy it on occasion when I can afford to. It's just that good. Lane Shaco's early game is going to be rather simple. Set up a few boxes at the Razor Beaks and let the boxes kill the 3 small ones if your jungler is okay with it. They should kill them without your help, so you should stay in your lane. This is because Riot nerfed jungle experience so hard that Shaco can't really come up with a quick level 2 in lane anymore like this, but the extra experience still helps. Sadly, the large Razor Beak just doesn't cut it, as it takes too much time to kill, and you lose too much golden experience, and you usually come out behind if you attempt to do things this way. While laning, be sure that you always keep 1 or 2 Jack-in-the-Boxes behind you and your minion wave in case your opponent attempts to engage on you. The fear will allow you to disengage or turn the fight around in your favor. Harassing with your shivs when you reach rank 2 allows you to sick some decent damage on your lane opponent, and this increases dramatically as you buy items, because your shivs have a 1-to-1 AP ratio, and it's a point-and-click ability, which allows you to avoid skill shots without having to aim your own superior form of harassment. Using Deceive, you can engage on your opponent, dodge skill shots, or safely walk further up your lane to harass your opponent. By using Deceive to get close to your opponent in stealth, this greatly reduces the reaction time your opponent has to you popping out and throwing a knife at them. Be sure to use your ultimate when your lane opponent attempts to engage on you post 6. By timing properly, you can avoid hefty damage and turn the fight around. If you're against a champion like LeBlanc or Zed, this works especially well, as they won't be able to deal with you once you turn the odds. And when Zed ults, he comes straight to you. You can deceive into a box and absolutely ruin his day. Shaco also has extremely good roaming potential once he begins doing damage, and especially after buying Proto Belt. Opponents are usually looking up for Shaco ganks from mid lane, but entering the lane in stealth for a surprise attack can not only take opponents off guard, but also upset them greatly. Proto Belt with 2 Shiv Poison from behind deals a hefty sum of damage, and is your primary form of burst. In the late game, Shaco is an extremely potent pick champion. By deceiving into a teamfight and picking out a squishy or low health target, Shaco can use Proto Belt, Shiv, and an auto attack to remove that target's health bar, throw down a box, and use his clone to set up for a safe escape even though Deceive is down. While jungling as AP Shaco, your ganks and invades are going to be fairly weak until you get Runic Echoes, so try to focus on farming as much as you can, ganking only when there are good opportunities to do so. Starting by placing 2 boxes at one camp and 2 boxes at a buff allows you to clear both by the time your opponent is about a quarter of the way done their first buff. You can invade your opponent's second buff fine after this if you so choose, but always be cautious of who's leaving to help them. If you opt out of that path, however, you can continue to clear your jungle as normal. You should be hitting level 6 as you're killing your buff for the second time, and that's when the fun begins, as AP Shaco can solo Dragon at level 6 immediately just like AD Shaco can, giving your team a potentially huge boost for the rest of the game. Once you have Runic Echoes and Proto Belt, the world is your oyster. You can go out there and demolish everyone in your path. Here are some neat tips and tricks about AP Shaco. Hextech Revolver's passive damage effect applies to Tundalrods Decree, so when you buy the item, your trading potential is at an all-time high. A Deceive auto paired with a Shiv will chunk your opponent's health bar down like it's made of a bad analogy. While stealthed, you can use your ultimate to make it appear as though you left stealth early. Your opponents will usually focus the clone first, allowing you to position for some nice chunking or a huge AoE burst in teamfights. Your boxes are disabled whenever someone buys Oracle's Lens and uses it, so it's smart to place boxes in places people don't often check for wards, but still walk through. It also reduces the effectiveness of box nests. That is to say, they don't exist anymore if someone has oracles and walks near your boxes. So you should definitely be careful on where you're nesting and try to avoid nesting in bushes where people usually check with Oracle's Lens. You should never not be throwing down boxes if you have enough mana and the cooldown is up. You're AP Shaco. You're not using these boxes for just their fear anymore. They hit as hard as Teemo shrooms. Sometimes harder. I hope you all enjoyed my AP Shaco guide, and I'm incredibly sorry that it took over a month to get you guys a new video. I've been so busy with other things, and I felt terrible about not being able to deliver for you. I'm back streaming again on Twitch, by the way, and there's a link in the description below if you're interested in that. I hope to see you there. But until then, good luck and have fun.